crashing against the bulkhead.
It's terrible. This wind is crazy.
But you're still out.
I am running back as we speak.
The mobile weather lab stands firm despite winds howling above 40 miles per hour. A task far more difficult for humans. Andrew Onan steps out to witness Mother Nature's wrath firsthand. His first response when I asked about conditions.
Neighborhood, this is just a normal day for us in Paulus Hook.
Every day it's like this?
Yes. Every single day.
Oh my God, get out of here. Exactly what we did. Step out of protective cover and into the wind. Are you enjoying it?
Well, maybe not now.
The force sent him heading for cover again. A tree knocked over by the gust fell smack down on a power line in South Brunswick, knocking out power to more than a dozen customers. Meanwhile, across Middlesex County, nearly 3,000 sit without power. In Hoboken, the normally bustling Sinatra Park seems abandoned. One soul stopped to share his thoughts about tonight's storm. What is your plan tonight? Are you going to hunker down or are you going to keep wandering?
No. I'm going to go home and cook dinner and pray that my apartment that I moved into recently is not in the flood zone.
In North Bergen, several spots got drowned out and closed off. Inches of rain just too much for the earth to swallow and far too much for the capacity of this storm drain. The excessive water such a burden on the sewer in Piscataway, officials ask residents to refrain from running dishwashers and washing machines in hopes the system does not get overwhelmed tonight. All right, did you notice how much happier I seemed earlier tonight? That's because the rain was non-existent compared to what it is right now. I want to mention that in Middlesex County, power outages are roughly 3,000 that sit without power at this hour. And as we continue with these raging winds through the overnight, we do expect that number to climb. We're live in Jersey City tonight. Vanessa Murdoch, CBS 2 News.
Okay, really bringing the story home, Vanessa. Thank you. You guys hang in there tonight.
States of emergency in effect right now in both Nassau and Suffolk counties on Long Island.
CBS 2's Lori Bordenaro live now in Freeport on the South Shore. The wind is whipping up there too, Lori.
And Maurice and Christine, we have just been getting pummeled out here with wind and rain. And this street here behind me, it was flooded earlier. It has since receded, but we saw a lot of drivers trying to come through this area. A lot of them had to turn around as they've been forced to deal with this latest storm. Whipping winds and drenching downpours, getting worse hour by hour on Long Island.
Seen quite a few accidents, so we advise people to be as cautious as possible.
Nikita Campbell picking up a family member so they would be safe. Her concern, like many here in Nassau County, flooding as the rain intensifies. Lindenhurst already knee-deep in rising waters.
It's been very challenging to get through these roads, yes, but we're playing it safe and we're driving safely.
Streets like this one already nearly impassable.
We're going that way, but we see the puddle water, which I'm pretty sure like 2.5 feet or so. And wouldn't make it with these cars, so we got to turn around.
Both Nassau and Suffolk counties under a state of emergency. Winds expected to hit 60 miles per hour at the height of the storm.
Anything that you have outside that could become airborne, please bring it inside. If you can't bring it inside, please tie it down.
Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman says the county is prepared to handle this latest storm. And so is Maria Cruz, all too familiar with flooding on the South Shore.
Just making sure that the drains are not clogged and so that the water's going to be able to go out.
And PSEG is reporting about 600 outages here on Long Island, and they are warning people to stay away from any downed power lines. We're live in Freeport tonight. Lori Bordenaro, CBS 2 News.
Lori, thank you.
And from Long Island, let's head now to the northern suburbs in Westchester County, where the storm has flooded streets and parkways.
CBS 2's Dick Brennan live in Bronxville, checking out the conditions there. Dick?
The conditions are actually very dangerous, Maurice and Christine. In fact, I just witnessed a few minutes ago a rescue attempt by the Yonkers PD in the water under the overpass of the Bronx River Parkway right behind me. Scuba teams went into the water. Now, police would not confirm that in this case someone was in a car. They did say they were going to check, but Yonkers PD say tonight they are doing rescues. They actually had a boat out on the highway just moments ago. In the meantime, it just shows how dangerous things are on the roadway tonight. This was the end of the line for drivers on the Bronx River Parkway South in Crestwood, Yonkers, a stretch of roadway notorious for flooding, with far less rainwater being just feet from the Bronx River. And tonight on roadways around the area, flooding was more than likely. A pounding rain hit the pavement and blasted windshields on Central Avenue in Yonkers, one of the busiest 6 lanes of roadway you will ever see on a normal day. Things were different tonight. Many had heeded the warnings to stay inside. This guy had no choice but to wait for the bus in the worst conditions imaginable. The bus finally made it, huh?
Yeah.
Not so lucky, the Domino's guy, making his appointed rounds on Central Avenue, the everything pie coming with an extra soaking. Is the rain bad?
Yeah, rain.
Rain is really bad, huh?
Yes.
But people got to eat, right?
Yes.
Good luck to you, man. And it was a night to be thankful for small favors like small umbrellas.
It's really windy out here, and forget about the umbrellas. Try to use a hood. The umbrella's not going to work.
You were doing a great job negotiating. I have to show you the size of the umbrella. This isn't going to cover nothing, as we say.
It's not going to keep you too dry.
But you're dry now.
Yes, it's okay, because I'm standing under the scaffolding talking to you. You dried me up.
Smart idea. Now, we can tell you it's a night to be thankful for the Yonkers PD, because they have been in the water literally trying to pull people out. They've gone underwater to try and get people. So far, we haven't heard any word as of yet as to what happened here in Bronxville, but they've all moved away, so apparently the danger is over. In the meantime, the river just keeps getting wider and wider. It was about 20 feet under when we were here 20 minutes ago. Now it's moved up. It's threatening the other side of the roadway. It's already taken the Bronx River Parkway. If you're going out on the roads tonight, take it easy, and better yet, stay home. We're live in Bronxville. Dick Brennan, CBS 2 News.
All right, Dick, thank you.
And as we mentioned earlier, the flooding has shut down many roads in New Jersey as well.
Our team coverage continues in Union County, where Alicia Reed has been checking out the flooding in that area. Alicia?
That's right, Christine and Maurice. The rain has been coming down steadily all night long. As a matter of fact, it's gotten heavier and the wind is picking up. At times, the wind is so loud, it's actually quite scary. Right now, we're on US 22 West and Glenside Avenue. And those trucks you see here, they're stopping cars from going any further. The highway is closed right here due to flooding. These trucks are making sure that no one tries to get around. And about half a mile up the road, there's a sign warning drivers that all these lanes are closed and to use an alternate route. But just like us, most people just kept going. By the time they get to Glenside Avenue, though, they have to make a right and use the side streets. And it is starting to puddle here at this intersection, where vehicles are starting to slow down in order to get through. And throughout the night, it really has been okay for us to drive around as long as we paced ourselves. The roadways are wet out here. There are a number of local street closures due to flooding. And at this point, about 3/4 of the state is under flood warning because of the excessive rainfall. And, you know, again, if you are driving near 22 West, keep in mind that at least this portion of the roadway is closed, so you may want to use alternate routes. And because the rain is going to continue coming down throughout the night, we may see even more road closures. Live in Union County, Alicia Reed, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Alicia, thank you. And caught on camera tonight, a waterfront in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, shows the rain and wind intensifying. You can see the waves already splashing onto the walkway there. And in Livingston, some neighborhoods already seeing some minor flooding. Video here showing a trail of water leading to a door with sandbags stacked in front of it. And some minor flooding in Bergen County. This is on North Street in Teterboro. You can see the road blocked off on one side with traffic cones. Our crew spotted a car drive up to the flooded intersection, and seemingly driver changed their mind and turned around.
Now, due to the weather, some schools have shortened their days tomorrow. Yonkers, Paramus, and Ridgewood schools will all be on a 2-hour delay. Patterson schools will have an early dismissal.
As the storm rages on, reports of power outages are piling up. At this hour, PSE&G in New Jersey has nearly 45,000 customers out. JCP&L more than 26,000 outages. PSEG Long Island has 2,300 reported outages, and Con Ed about 6,600. And Orange and Rockland reporting nearly 600 outages tonight.
The storm also took down a tree in Brooklyn. Take a look at it here, blocking Richmond Street in the Cypress Hill section. Branches could be seen leaning against a car, but it's unclear if there's any damage. No injuries have been reported. And the MTA is working to prepare flood-prone subway stations. Crews laid down these trench covers at the Union Street station and Park Slope earlier today. These yellow mats are designed to keep water out of vented gates and prevent subway goers from getting rained on below. MTA and LIRR crews are standing by along subway lines to respond to any issues that may pop up.
And let's take a look live now at Newark Airport. Flight delays are piling up there tonight. Nearly 300 at Newark as of last check. Our other major airports not doing much better. LaGuardia, 320 delays, and JFK reporting exactly 300. And tomorrow morning, our teams will be getting up with you bright and early starting at 4 a.m. They'll be tracking the storm overnight and tomorrow morning so you can start your day.
Still ahead here tonight at 11, time has run out for dozens of migrant families living in shelters in the city. There's struggle now to find new homes and what the city says are next steps.
Plus, a tunnel discovered under a synagogue and it's linked to a bizarre brawl with cops. We've got new details on where this passageway came from.
And of course, we're keeping an eye on the storm system that is hammering down in our area right now. We'll be back with more of our continuing coverage right after this. Continuing our storm coverage here and another look outside in Ridgewood, New Jersey. Heavy rain falling there all evening, causing some minor flooding right now. Schools there will have a 2-hour delay tomorrow morning. And the city moved nearly 2,000 asylum seekers from that controversial shelter at Brooklyn's Floyd Bennett Field today because of safety concerns over the storm. It temporarily relocated 20 minutes away to James Madison High School in Midwood, and as a result, the school dismissed the students early and they will do remote learning tomorrow.
Meantime, around 40 migrant families who've been living in city shelters were forced to find another place to stay long-term today. They were evicted from the Row Hotel in Midtown as part of the city's new 60-day limit. City officials are hoping to free up shelter space now for the hundreds of new asylum seekers arriving weekly. City Controller Brad Landner says his office is launching an investigation into the policy.
Kick families out of shelter in the middle of wintertime to displace kids from their school in the middle of the school year is honestly one of the cruelest things.
My teams have moved heaven and earth to work with families to help them to identify their next steps.
City officials say they're working to keep families who reapply to shelters near their children's schools. The Adams administration also has said it will not let families sleep on the street and has been working to place them in temporary housing for an additional 60 days.
5 workers are injured after a piece of construction equipment collapsed in Upper Manhattan. Investigators say construction was underway for a 17-story new building when a steel boom on a truck came crashing down. Happened around 2:30 this afternoon at 207th Street and 9th Avenue. One of the injuries is serious. The 4 others are minor. We did learn that there are 2 violations at this construction site, both from last month. The DOB is investigating.
All right, let's go back to Lonnie Quinn. You and your team, Lonnie, spot on. You have to tell, you got to say that because this is the brunt of the storm right now, as you said.
Yeah, over New York City, it's right now. A couple of hours going to be out over the east end of Long Island. I mean, this is a bruiser. I mean, and you know it if you folks are out there living it. So here's our picture. All right, you are 56 degrees. That's a part of the story. Temperatures have gone up throughout the entire evening. Once the sun set, temperatures went up. You're in the worst of it as we speak, so we'll go right to it and show you what the winds are doing and what we think they're going to continue to do. 50 to 60 mile-per-hour winds along our shoreline areas. We've already seen that verify. I think you've got another few hours of that. I'm going to map it out for you in just a moment. Inland, the potential for 40 to 50 mile-per-hour gusts. That has also already verified. And also, you've got, until about maybe say 2 a.m. or so to deal with winds like that also. Watch what we are dealing with. Right now, we just had a 52 mile-per-hour gust in the city before I came out here. I looked at the monitor. Now we're looking at about a 41. All right, that makes sense because that's what wind gusts are, right? I mean, they pop here, they relax a little bit, relax by 10 miles per hour. They'll pop again. These are big winds, okay? 49 for Babylon, 35, the Hamptons, 39, Greenwich, Connecticut. Well, here's your initialization. Midnight, they're back to about 53 mile-per-hour gusts in New York City. Same thing for Montauk, 52 Riverhead, 44 Toms River. That's midnight, all right? You get to 2 a.m. Now the heaviest is off to the east, a 59, if not a 60 mile-per-hour gust in Riverhead, 53 from Montauk. And notice this, New York City and points off to the west, the winds are gusting kind of below 30 miles per hour, and the westerly winds are starting to take over. It's this onshore flow that brings about the coastal flooding problems, all right? The westerly wind is going to cool us off as we push into late Wednesday and Thursday, but look, they never really go away. I mean, it's not like it's a calm day on Wednesday. You've got winds throughout the area gusting at times 30 to 40 miles per hour, 39 mile per hour gust in Montauk, 2:30 Wednesday afternoon. So here's our situation. This is the worst of it right now. And man, what a long line of heavy downpours that is. Anywhere from Atlantic City right through the city up into Westchester County. Lots of rain coming down, lots of wind associated with this as well. This is not the front, all right? It's actually sort of associated more with the warm front, but the actual cold front that's going to switch our winds still off to the west. Look at this along the Jersey Shore. Driving on the Garden State Parkway right now would be a nightmare, okay, if you're anywhere close to the Jersey Shore. I mean, it's just really pummeling the area. And there is more activity behind it. This is the main show. All right, there will be some breaks, but you still keep a lingering shower, even an isolated downpour, still a possibility. About 1.5 inches in New York City. We've seen 2.5 up around northwestern New Jersey, 3.1 Fairfield County. These are radar estimated totals. On top of that, you're going to throw anywhere from 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches. Big rain. Flooding is a big problem out there. So the bottom line, now to 3 a.m., waves of wind and rain. The winds can gust over 60, as I've showed you. Coastal flooding is likely. It's taking place as we speak, and it's going to continue right through the morning high tide cycle. That will be sometime between 6 and 9 a.m. The rivers are already responding to this afternoon's rain, but look at this. All right, I'm looking right now at the Passaic River at Little Falls. It doesn't reach major flood stage until Thursday, Friday, possibly into Saturday as well. So the worst for the river flooding can possibly be still to come. And then we've got another system that arrives on Friday with about 1 inch of rain for some folks again.
Yeah.
It's so active. I mean, this has been one heck of a start to 2024.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rough morning, that's for sure.
That's the truth. Yeah. Thank you, Lonnie.
Rough ride getting home, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Thanks, Lonnie. Still ahead here tonight, a tunnel found under a synagogue.
And it's linked to a bizarre brawl with police. Tonight, new details on where this passageway actually came from.
Several people were arrested after a clash between police and some congregants inside a Brooklyn synagogue.
This dispute yesterday over a tunnel secretly dug under the Chabad Lubavitch World Headquarters in Crown Heights by a group of extremist students. They reportedly vandalized the sanctuary after the synagogue brought in a cement truck to seal up that tunnel.
Want to lose the work that they did in all the years, so they break the main wall. They break the main wall.
It's obviously very troubling to not just the Lubavitch community, but people, Jews around the world. This is a very significant place.
For now, the sanctuary remains closed. The suspects arrested facing charges including criminal mischief, reckless endangerment, and obstruction of governmental administration.
Otis will be back with sports next.
This is CBS Sports New York, presented by Ford.
Knicks made a trade, and they are looking good these days.
Yeah, and a lot of fans going out in the weather tonight, going up to the Garden to see a good basketball game. Knicks with the distinction of being the only team undefeated in the new year. I know it's a small sample size, just 4 games, but the defending champion Nuggets have lost. They're 3-1, so there. Knicks trying to extend their undefeated string in 2024 against the lowly Trailblazers. Jalen Brunson takes a licking. Keeps on ticking. Painful three-point play, just 12 for the reigning Eastern Conference Player of the Week. The new guy that Maurice was talking about, OG Anunoby, came in averaging just under 15 points a game. Tonight, he had 16 in the first quarter alone, and the Garden crowd was chanting, OG, OG, as he buried 4 3-pointers, finished with a game-high 23. Julius Randle filled up the box score tonight. 20 points, 7 boards, 8 assists. Knicks are now 15-1 against teams under 500. The winning streak is up to 5, 112-84 the final. Meanwhile, the Nets are over in Paris. They get ready to play the Cleveland Cavaliers on Thursday.
I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce his last name.
OG Anunoby.
Anunoby.
Okay, that's easy. That's easy.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, you just chant the OG.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, yeah.
I'll just say OG.
OG.
That's what I'll do.
Love it.
That's it.
Thanks.
All right.
We'll be right back.
Safe.
This is CBS News, New York.
The storm is here. From downed trees to flooding to rough surf, the tri-state area is on red alert. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson.
I'm Maurice Dubois. Things have really started to ramp up over the past few hours, and this will continue to impact us into tomorrow. As we speak right now, almost all of New Jersey under a flood alert, and thousands of people are without power.
We've got team coverage across the area for you here tonight. Our crews from New Jersey to Long Island and Westchester County.
We begin with Lonnie Quinn tracking this storm from the very beginning. He's got his first alert forecast.
Well, good evening, everybody. Look, we knew this day was coming, and sure enough, it's really come to fruition with, big rain out there. And the rain is going to be getting heavier as you push into the late hours tonight and during the overnight hours as well. The winds are picking up as well. They will be peaking overnight. Toughest time period, all right? We've been saying all along, it's like 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. So really late night tonight, you're right in the middle of it all. And look at this. We knew it would start off with some snow in our northern suburbs, but it's turning over to rain. 3 inches of rain fell in Pike County and Sullivan County, but that rain snow line pushing through.
Stormy weather hits the tri-state area. We're on red alert with downed trees, flooding, and rough surf. Our team coverage continues now on CBS News New York. And good evening, I'm Christine Johnson.
And I'm Maurice Dubois. Things have really started to ramp up over the past few hours, and this is going to continue to impact us into tomorrow and beyond. Right now, most of New Jersey, almost the entire state, under a flood alert, and thousands of people do not have power right now. We've got team coverage all across our area, but we're going to begin with Lonnie Quinn tracking the storm since the beginning, and the first alert forecast includes all kinds of flooding, Lonnie.
Yeah, all kinds of it out there. I mean, take a look. Here's your radar picture, and all these little icons shows you some sort of a weather report. These are all flooding situations, or you've got wind damage, you've got wind reports out there. A little bit of snow fell. All right, you picked up about 2.5 to 3 inches in Pike County before it turned over to all rain. Trust me, guys, this rain snow line has pushed so far north, it's into Vermont right now. This is a rainstorm. Georgia's just clicking away on any of these because they all hold a little piece of the puzzle. Georgia, click on any of those. You can zoom in tight here. We're now talking some of these wind gusts that we've seen, and they're big ones out there. And this is right now the biggest one we can find in Mamaroneck, a 64-mile-per-hour wind gust. It's 10 miles shy of being a hurricane-grade wind gust. I mean, those are strong winds out there. You've picked up so much rain. This is the heaviest rain band that we have right now, right over Hempstead. All right, that rain is coming down fast and furious out there, but we've seen so much rain anywhere in our area. We've basically already seen 1 to 3 inches of rain, and it looks like we may see another inch on top of all of that. So the ground is saturated. You've got these winds out there that are blowing. Look at the damage. All right, you've got a tree down and a road closure on US 9. This is in Briarcliff Manor. Here's another one that we've got in Bergen County in Ridgewood. We've got more activity throughout the entire area. I saw a tree down at one point in time on the Palisades Parkway. I mean, tough go of it. Let's put the Futurecast into motion and show you how this is going to progress. So here we go. You get to 1 a.m. and that line that I just showed you out around Queens is right now at that point in time at 1 a.m. would be out around Islip in that vicinity, right? You give or take a little bit here, but notice, man, how straight up and down it is. If this holds true, look at those winds whipping right along it. I mean, they're mostly concentrated right there. A vertically stacked line is a tough storm, and then behind it there's much less activity, but I'll tell you, you're not done entirely. You're going to find some stragglers making their way through, but this right there is the main show. You want to know, when is that done? I would say that's clearing the East End by about 3 o'clock. It still lingers maybe for the Twin Forks, but shortly after that it's out to sea. And then we'll deal with a drying out period. But as far as our rivers are concerned, that's yet to come, because all the tributaries have to feed into some of those rivers. The Passaic River, which is one of our big problematic rivers, it has over half a dozen tributaries that feed into it. It may very well be a day or 2 days after this event before it crests. So right now, the radar estimates New York City with about 1.5 inches of rain. The biggest number on the board in Fairfield County inland, we've seen 3.1, 2.6 in portions of northeastern New Jersey. Bergen County also coming in like around 1.5 inches of rain. And you talked about the flood warnings for almost the entire state of New Jersey. Here it is. the entire state of New Jersey except for Cape May. Flood warning, this particular one has been put into effect because of excessive rainfall, and that's exactly what we are seeing out there. It also includes all 5 boroughs of the city. It goes into portions of the lower Hudson Valley, into Rockland and Westchester County, nipping at Fairfield County. It's got Nassau County there as well. Rain is a huge element here. Wind a big element, and that wind coming in off the water makes the coastal concerns a big element as well. Coastal flood warnings, coastal flood advisories, that's going to be until a Wednesday morning high tide cycle. When is that? Sometime between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. And I want you to think about this. Amidst all of this rain, all of this wind pushing the water onshore, you've also got a new moon. You've got a full moon coming out on Wednesday, so you'll have an astronomical high tide. So for my friends who live in like Freeport out on the island, I've been there when they've had a high tide. You get flooding anyway. So many of you keep the wading boots in your back seat of your car, and you wade through the car when you park because the high tide because the tide is so high when you have a full moon. Well, now you've got your high tide, you've got your full moon, and you've got this push of water. How big is that push of water? It's estimated to be maybe an additional 2 to 2.5 feet of inundation on top of your typical high water mark. Now you put another 2.5 feet on top of that, would be the worst case scenario. So moderate to possibly isolated major coastal flooding out there. And again, we are still going to watch that during the high tide cycle. So just to go through the bottom line here one more time, guys, before I toss it back to you. We're going to deal with the actual storm itself. We're saying from now until 3 a.m. Well, you know what? Let's maybe say maybe 4 a.m. It lingers out around the east end. You got the waves of heavy rain, strong winds. Those winds can continue to gust to 60 miles per hour or more. I just showed you Mamaroneck with a 64 mile per hour gust, 40 mile per hour gusts or stronger. I'd say 40 to 50 more inland. But this is why, you have trees going down. Your ground is so saturated. And now you've got the winds. I think they're going to continue to come down. A few more trees will drop. Coastal flooding, as I told you, is likely because of that wind, and the Wednesday morning high tide cycle is a concern. As for the rivers, you got a number of days. The bigger the river, the slower it is to respond. Small little creeks and streams can respond like that, very fast responding, but the big rivers take some time. So the Passaic River, like Little Falls area, I don't think that's going to reach major flood stage, not even tomorrow. It'll probably be Thursday into Friday that happens. So we're going to follow everything, guys. But right now, we're just catching our breath around here. We're not done. We've got a few hours to go until it gets off of our shores. But guys, let's go back to you.
Excuse me. Okay, Lonnie, thank you.
And those powerful winds he's talking about whipping up the water surrounding our area.
Let's go out now to CBS 2's Vanessa Murdoch. She's been in Jersey City throughout the evening and in that surrounding area. Vanessa, it seems like the winds have died down a bit since we last checked in with you.
A dramatic shift in both the wind and the rain. Now, truth be told, at this moment in time, I'm standing under an overhang, so you can't get the full perspective on the change. So I'll step out into the elements. I can stand up straight. I do not need to have my back to the wind. My hair is staying relatively dry. Very different than when that squall line, that narrow band of heaviest rain and strongest winds moved through this region. And right now, the winds are significantly calmer than they were just about 40 minutes ago. But the rain continues to fall. It is still breezy out here. Winds probably gusting at about 30 now compared to the 50 plus just about 40 minutes ago. I want to bring you over toward the Hudson River. You can listen and hear the water washing through, being likely pumped here to give a little bit of breathing room to all of the drains across Jersey City. As we were standing out here earlier, the tide was much higher. The waves were much rougher as well when the winds then were out of the east. We had white caps earlier tonight. Now it's choppy, but certainly much more settled than it was not too long ago. What we anticipate is that the rain, as it settles down, we'll continue to see this draining happening. It will still be windy overnight, but again, as Lonnie said, the worst of the winds have moved through Jersey and are now pushing across Long Island. As we've driven around today, some of the things that we've seen are flooded out roadways, but really the winds have been the biggest impact right here along the coastline tonight, and the most impressive, most fun, and most miserable to endure. But the good news is the worst of it is behind us, and now we'll just have to continue to watch things drain. And unfortunately for our friends a little bit northwest of Jersey City who live near the rivers, they'll have to deal with that river flooding that Lonnie mentioned. But out here live right now, I'm happy to be standing in much improved conditions. Christina Maurice, and I'll look forward to drying out in just a little while.
Vanessa, this is Lonnie. I'm here at the desk with Jay and Mo. I just wanted to ask you quickly, Vanessa, the one element that we haven't seen with this storm is snow because it hasn't been cold enough. Right now, you do not look like you're battling the cold weather at all.
Oh, no, I mean, come on, I don't even have gloves on, but there does come a point where it just doesn't matter anymore. You're drenched. I much prefer the 50s and rain to the 30s and rain, which many in our area experienced earlier today. So thank goodness we're out here late. We're feeling the surge of warmth as the rain comes down. But yeah, I mean, it could be way worse than what I'm standing in right now. That's for certain, Lonnie.
Vanessa, I'll leave you with one point. If this had been snow, you'd be standing in about 20 to 25 inches of it.
Yes, and I'd be awfully happy, wouldn't I?
Good enough. Hey, thank you very much, Vanessa.
Yes,
she wouldn't be standing in snow. She'd be buried in snow, right?
That's a heartwarming thought as you think about it right now.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the flooding has shut down many roads in New Jersey.
Our team coverage continues now. In Union County, Alicia Reed has been checking out the flooding there. Alicia, how are things looking now?
Hey, Christina and Maurice, still raining. And at this point, it doesn't even make sense for me to try to hold on to an umbrella because it doesn't work. But with all this rain comes this. What's behind me right here? Road closures. Right now we're on US 22 West and Glenside Avenue. That's the intersection, and the highway here is closed. The trucks are making sure that no cars try to go through. There are fewer cars on the road right now than what we saw when we first got here, but half a mile up the road there's a sign alerting vehicles that they should use alternate routes because it's going to be closed right here on 22 West. 3/4 of the state right now is under flood warning because of that excessive rainfall. It's not expected to stop anytime soon. And so again, if you're out here, if you're out west on US 22 West driving, keep in mind that the roadway is closed as we go through the night. The rain is expected to continue going, so there may be even more road closures as we go through. So anyone outside, if you don't need to be out here, it doesn't make sense. There are road closures everywhere. And so if you do need to be out, make sure to stay safe. Live in Union County, Alicia Reed, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Alicia, thank you so much.
States of emergency in effect in both Nassau and Suffolk counties on Long Island.
CBS 2's Lori Bordenaro live now in Freeport with the latest, and it is coming down, Lori.
It sure is, Maurice and Christine. We've seen the rain and wind intensifying, and conditions here seem to be deteriorating over the past couple of hours. I'll show you here behind me in Freeport. This is a very desolate street, and that's because not a lot of people are out tonight, and for very good reason. You can see the big concern here is going to be the flooding and, of course, downed wires that come with all of this wind. Nassau and Suffolk counties, as you said, under state of emergency. The Nassau County executive says that the county is equipped to deal with anything that comes its way. And we've seen a lot of people driving around earlier. There was a lot of flooding on some of the streets in this area here. A lot of people just had a sort of detour, turn around. Some people tried to go through some of the streets here that seemed to be impassable, but made it through. We did see some emergency vehicles come down the street a little bit earlier. But again, you're really not seeing much in the way of traffic around here. A lot of people staying home, and of course, a very good idea on a night like tonight because it is definitely coming down pretty hard out here at this point. We're live in Freeport. Lori Bordenaro, CBS 2 News.
Okay, Lori, hang in there. Thanks so much. And caught on camera here, a waterfront in Perth Amboy, New Jersey, showing the rain and wind intensifying. You can see the waves splashing onto the walkway there. And in Livingston, some neighborhoods already seeing minor flooding. Video shows a trail of water leading to a door with sandbags stacked up right there in front of it. And some minor flooding to show you in Bergen County. This is on North Street in Teterboro. You can see the road blocked off on one side with traffic cones. Our crew spotted a car drive up to the flooded intersection, and seemingly the driver changing their mind and turning around.
Now, just into our newsroom, we have learned that the FAA says that both LaGuardia and JFK airports are now at a ground stop. Taking a live look at Newark Liberty Airport, they are reporting there about 300 flight delays. Do check in with your airline carrier if you're flying out. Some schools have already shortened their days tomorrow. Yonkers, Paramus, and Ridgewood schools will all be on a 2-hour delay. Patterson schools will have an early dismissal.
As the storm rages on, reports of power outages are piling up. At this hour, PSE&G, New Jersey, already 45,000 customers out. JCP&L, more than 26,000. PSEG Long Island has 2,300 reported outages. Con Ed, about 6,600. And Orange and Rockland reporting nearly 600 outages. Other parts of the East Coast also seeing severe flooding tonight. Video here from Baltimore showing roads underwater, some cars needing to be towed. We're also hearing of some people who had to be rescued nearby.
Yeah, the severe weather really across the nation. I was reading about tornadoes in some areas. Yeah, in Florida. So let's go back with Lonnie Quinn. So we're not the only ones dealing with Mother Nature here today, Lonnie.
No, Georgie, if you're back there in the weather office, if you could do me a favor, can you give me a big, broad picture? Now, guys, you folks at home, just bear with us because we're kind of running on the fly here. As wide as it can, because I want to show the whole system, Georgie, from Canada all the way down, like Christine was just talking about, Florida. Are you kidding me, guys? Look at this, okay? There's the Maine border with Canada right there, okay? This line extends all the way, okay, Nags Head right there, all the way down into Florida. It's about 1,600 miles of really strong weather and severe weather as well. Panama City reports of tornadoes today in that area, so there's been a lot to do with this storm. It hasn't just been, okay, mop up all the wet weather. There's been strong winds. There's been twist in the atmosphere. Thankfully, we have not seen that element, but boy, it has been eventful here as well. Zoom in tight. Toughest weather that we currently have is this line that you see right here, cutting right over the Nassau-Suffolk County border, all right, over towards Stamford, Connecticut, and now it's offshore of the Jersey Shore. I'm going to say this much, kind of a bold statement, but for New Jersey, the worst is behind you now, okay? You're finished with the worst that it has to offer. There's still some significant, I'm sorry, G, what's that? Okay, gotcha. Georgie brings up a great point. Listen, he and I work together. It's just wonderful because, look, I am saying the worst of the rain is behind us, but he points out, I've been trying to say this all night long, the rivers are not done. There's going to be a big lag effect. The Passaic River, for example, feeds 7 different tributaries into it. It takes time. It takes 24 hours, if not 48 hours, for that to reach its maximum. And there's about a 50-mile span right now from Sandy Hook on the Jersey Shore going all the way out to the end of the rain, the consistent rain. And right now, look, this isn't as heavy as that line I showed you over the Nassau-Suffolk County line, but this is pretty good rain falling in Bergen County, Passaic County. You can see it right here. It's not the bright red color. This is moderate to moderately heavy, whereas the other stuff is kind of like off the charts. I mean, look at that line right there. That's the worst of it, and we've all dealt with it. But do you see how skinny it is, and do you also see how fast it's moving? We're going to track that in just a second. I just want to point out, because it's moving so fast, we're with Vanessa during the 11 o'clock news, and it looked like mayhem outside. We were with her half an hour later, and she's like, oh, well, this is kind of breezy. There's some wind fall, there's some rain falling, but it wasn't the big stuff. Georgie, let's grab this leading edge right here. All right, it's going to go 2 places. It's going to go along the Connecticut shoreline. It's also going to go right along Long Island. So here we go. I want to give you folks an idea. You've been in rain all day long. Every town listed here has been in big rain all day long. I want you to know when you're going to catch the big hit out of this storm. All right, that line right there will make its way to Islip at 12:26. It gets to Milford, Connecticut at 12:46. Gets to New Haven at 1:06. Gets to Southampton 2:16, and then after that, it pushes off the east end of Long Island sometime, we think, between 3 and 4 a.m. Rainfall numbers, and we're going to have to update these in just a bit, but these are maybe a half hour old, except when you're under that big line with the heavy rain. That rain's coming down at an incredible rate. So anywhere from 2.5 inches for portions of the lower Hudson Valley, even into northern New Jersey. You've got 3.1 inland around New Canaan, Connecticut. You've got 2.2 in places like Hunterdon County. You're 2.4 along the Jersey Shore, 1.5 right now out in Suffolk County. But Suffolk County, you're 1.5. You haven't had the toughest rain coming through yet. Thankfully, it is a pretty quick moving line, so give yourself a couple of hours, say 3 o'clock or so. You should be basically done, except for Montauk and maybe the very eastern tip of the North Fork as well. So coastal flooding remains a concern. all the way until the high tide cycle, which will be between 6 and 9 o'clock in the morning. Then you can basically put that one to bed. What you cannot put to bed are the rivers. The rivers are going to continue to be a problem, okay? Here are all your next high tide cycles. East Rockaway, 6 a.m., Freeport, 7 a.m. Boy, Freeport, I know you guys are having a tough time with flooding. Lindenhurst, 9 a.m. The river flooding, we're going to watch that one as we look ahead, all right? And when we look ahead, I've got to spend a little bit of time on this. The toughest has been our weather today. It's been a red alert. You guys, you go through your Wednesday, you're still going to deal with some winds blowing basically 30 miles per hour, maybe some gusts upper 30s to around 40, right? So it's a windy day, but it's not damaging winds. The rain will be gone as you push through the day. All right, Thursday, you get a break, kind of a breezy blend of sun and clouds, and then Friday, not our biggest storm, but it certainly merits a yellow alert on the heels of this storm, which comes on the heels of another storm just a week ahead of it. But this system here for Friday and Saturday looks to right now be, Georgie, if you're back there with me, I think the latest numbers are suggesting about a ½ inch to an inch, or have they bumped it up a little bit? Have you seen the most recent guidance? Yeah, it's about a ½ inch to an inch on top of what we have just picked up, guys. So that is something that we continue to watch. Typically, a ½ inch to an inch of rain. We scoff at that, right? I mean, what's that? Right. Except for when it's coming on the heels of this. One day separates a big rain event from a modest rain event, which will have uncharacteristically bigger effects. Our rivers, some of our rivers will be peaking on Friday, and now we're putting more rain on top of them.
I'm trying to think back over the last, couple decades and a half, let's say, right? I don't remember a situation like this where, okay, rain event, and then days later, it's just going to rise like crazy. I mean, even like places like Bound Brook, New Jersey, in those low-lying areas, you would think it would happen there more often. But I don't remember anything like this. What are the conditions that are making this so possible?
We have this atmospheric river, which just means a plethora of moisture in the air, and it happens to be set up over our area. So we're getting we're on this almost like 1 day on, or maybe 1 day on, 2 days off type of thing. And if this holds true, I just showed you another chance for rain on, this camera. I showed you another chance for rain on Friday. Guys, the 2 day break after that, there's no chance for rain on Monday. And that chance for rain on Monday, if the temperature profile holds true, it may actually be snow on Monday of next week. I want to hold off on that because we're not dialed in 100% on that yet. But I do see moisture for Monday, so we got to talk about that. But we've been talking temperatures here, right, and how mild it's been for some of our reporters out there in their live shots. We've got to talk about this because it's 60 degrees outside right now. The warmest reading of your day is right now. Temperatures are going to start to fall as you push later into your day tomorrow, okay? And then you're going to get to early Thursday morning. And I believe early Thursday morning, you may have temperatures that are borderline enough that it's 33 degrees in some spots, maybe 32, maybe 29, especially north of the city. And that's the area where you've got such a problem with the rivers, right? And I think there could be some black ice that develops, some freezing conditions out there. So, again, I'm not pandering for you folks to tune in here at all hours of the day, but I do hope that you can tune in because we'll give you the important information that you need as we get it. And that's just something that no one's really talking about. It's not a flash freeze. It's going to be a very slow descent of temperatures. But I think you could get down below the freezing mark for plenty of folks here early Thursday morning. And of course, it's a commute to work or school day.
Oh, yeah. Well, thankfully, there's delays. Most schools are delayed opening tomorrow just to figure out the morning mess. And then from then up in Bergen County, yeah, definitely. And then new video from Ridgewood as well here tonight, an area that has dealt with its own fair share of flooding, but they've got some rain that is pooling in the backyard area. But you know, the Saddle River runs through this area along with Hohokus and Saddle River and Upper Saddle River, where many of those homes along in that area will certainly be dealing with some water issues. And then, of course, those side roads that are, that have issues with flooding as well, which is why I think a lot of the schools in this area have the delayed opening tomorrow, just because it's going to be impossible to get around.
And I'm seeing some flooding on this video, but I can find a better video. I mean,
no, but the point being, it's tough to tell, right? But if you live there and that water's creeping at this hour, and you know what's coming, and you're talking about cresting going forward, that is terrifying. No, it's coming right toward their deck and their home so slowly, right?
Well, I already texted my husband. I said, any water in the basement yet? I mean, because it's like it's one of those things. It's like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
when, not if.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't had it. But I do also want to tell you guys this: that I was looking at the sawmill between exit 20 and 21 closed right down, and I'm thinking, okay, I got to get home.
Yeah, figure out a way around.
That's that area.
Figure out a way around.
That area in Westchester.
Thankfully, we've got other options, but who knows?
Well, that's how it's going to be in the morning. I mean,
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy.
All right, we're going to wrap it up here for us right now. We're going to tell you about the morning team. They're going to be up bright and early. They'll be up at 4 a.m. on the air. They'll be tracking the storm overnight and tomorrow morning, so you can start your day. Be sure to rise and shine with them.
Feels like 4 a.m. right now.
Is it Wednesday now?
It's
It is in fact Wednesday.
It's Wednesday. Okay, I was a little confused.
Seconds into Wednesday.
Right now.
I was a little confused.
Good morning to all of you.
Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you staying up with us at this later hour. I'm Christine Johnson.
I'm Maurice Dubois for the entire CBS 2 News team. Have a good night and stay safe.
This is CBS News, New York. This is CBS News, New York.
The storm is here. From downed trees to flooding to rough surf, the tri-state area is on red alert. Good evening. I'm Christine Johnson.
I'm Maurice Dubois. Things have really started to ramp up over the past few hours, and this will continue to impact us into tomorrow. As we speak right now, almost all of New Jersey under a flood alert, and thousands of people are without power.
We've got team coverage across the area for you here tonight. Our crews from New Jersey to Long Island and Westchester County.
We began with Lonnie Quinn tracking this storm from the very beginning. He's got his first alert forecast.
Well, good evening, everybody. Look, we knew this day was coming, and sure enough, it's really come to fruition with, big rain out there. And the rain is going to be getting heavier as you push into the late hours tonight and during the overnight hours as well. The winds are picking up as well. They will be peaking overnight. Toughest time period, all right? We've been saying all along it's like 8 p.m. to 1 a.m. So really late night tonight, you're right in the middle of it all. And look at this. We knew it would start off with some snow in our northern suburbs, but it's turning over to rain. 3 inches of rain fell in Pike County and Sullivan County, but that rain snow line pushing through the area north of us. I even think the big ski areas, Hunter Mountain, Wyndham, Bel Air, I think you're going to turn over to rain as well. And coastal flood conditions, well, we have warnings out there from right now through Wednesday morning. If you look at what we're dealing with, anybody who has a shoreline has either a coastal flood warning or an advisory. The toughest situation will be possibly 2 to maybe 2.5 feet of inundation on top of what is your typical